Shows how to do momentum problems with when the units are not in kilograms. And so the first thing that you should know is, I'm going to write it up here, but when you get your answer for momentum, which is the P symbol, well, remember, I guess we can have the formula. Momentum equals the mass times the velocity. Okay, but the momentum, it has to contain the mass unit. So when you get your units for your answer, it has to be a mass unit, which is kilograms, and then the velocity unit, to be in standard units, needs to be in meters per second. So the momentum unit is basically a kilogram times a meters per second. That's the units that you have to have when you get your final answer. Okay? So if we were to do a thing and it says calculate its momentum, we want to use this formula. Momentum equals mass times velocity. But if we see that our mass is not in kilograms, we have to change that first. So what we're going to do is change the grams to kilograms. And if you remember, I'll write it up here. 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams, okay? You can put that here. Remember to always keep the same units diagonal. Grams are diagonal. Oops, I forgot to write the 1 kilogram. All right, so if we take 15 times 1 divided by 1,000, that ends up being 1.5 kilograms. Okay, now we can go back to our problem and just plug in the numbers. Momentum equals, what's our mass? 1.5 kilograms. What's the velocity? It's 20 meters per second. That's already in the right units. Okay, so we take 1.5 times 20, and we end up getting 30, and the units for momentum need to be in kilograms, meters per second. Okay, kilograms times a meter per second. That's the units, okay? Okay, let's try number 2. Or why don't you try number 2? You can pause the video, and then it's just like problem 1, and then play this video to see if you did it right. Okay, so we're going to do calculate its momentum. So we have momentum equals mass times velocity. There's our formula. But if we look, our mass is not in kilograms, so we're going to change it. So 50 grams, we're going to use our conversion. 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. So 50 times 1 divided by 1,000 equals 0.05 kilograms. Now we can come back over here, and we can plug that in for our mass, 0.05 kilograms. We're going to multiply that times the velocity, 40 meters per second. And so if we take 0.5 times 40, we end up getting 2 is what the calculator would say, but the units are kilograms times meters per second. That's a momentum unit. Okay, let's try problem number 3. Okay, problem number 3 is a little bit different because it's a momentum problem, but it wants the velocity. So we have to remember our momentum triangle, and it looked like this here. It's not a very good triangle, okay, but anyway, so we have momentum up here, and we have mass and velocity here. And so when it says calculate the velocity, well, what's velocity equal to? Well, if we cover up velocity, you can see that velocity is equal to momentum divided by mass. Momentum divided by mass, okay? Oops, I wrote M there. Let me change, or V. Let me change that to an M. So P over M. Okay, now when we're going to use this formula, we have to make sure that we use the right units. So velocity equals the momentum, and the momentum units are 2.5 kilograms times meters per second. Those are that's the correct units. But we're going to divide that by the mass, and you can see that the mass unit is incorrect. It's in grams. So before we can plug that in for the mass, we got to change that to kilograms. So we'll go 500 grams. We'll use the conversion, 1 kilogram, 1,000 grams. That gives us 0.5 kilograms. And so then we'll just plug that in for our mass here, 0.5 kilograms. That way the units of kilograms cancel. when you take 2.5 divided by 0.5, and you would end up getting 5, but since the kilograms cancel out, meters per second. And a meter per second is a velocity unit, so you want to make sure you have the correct units. Okay, why don't you try problem, pause the video, try problem 4, then play the video and see if you did it right. I'll do it here in a second. Okay, a tennis ball with a mass of 60 grams is hit with a racket and leaves a racket with a momentum of 1.2 kilograms meters per second to the right. Calculate its velocity. Okay, so what we're trying to do is calculate its velocity, so we use the momentum triangle, and velocity equals the momentum divided by the mass. Okay, so we'll plug in the numbers. Velocity equals momentum, 1.2 kilograms times meters per second. We're going to divide that by the mass, but the mass is in grams. Remember, it has to be in kilograms because we want the kilograms to cancel. So we go 60 grams, we change it to kilograms, 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. So 60 divided by 1,000 is 0.06 kilograms. So then we're going to plug that in because that's our mass, 0.06 kilograms. We do the math on the calculator, and the velocity equals 20 is what the calculator said. But let's get the correct unit. See, a kilogram divided by a kilogram is 1, and so that just leaves us with meters per second. And that is the correct type of velocity unit, meters per second. Okay, that's it. So I hope this goes well for you.